What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another live stream, and Happy New Year to all of you. How was everybody's New Year? Hopefully everybody was safe and had an amazing time with friends and family. Quick question. Can you hear my chair squeaking in the background during the intro music? I feel like I should get a new chair because I try not to move, but if I have to move, it makes a squeaking noise. And I'm wondering if you can actually hear it during the music. Let me know. Maybe I just need some WD-40. I don't know. Welcome in, everybody. Make sure you get your comments and your questions in. We'll get to them shortly, but we have we have a few things to talk about today, and the first one is GROK. We're gonna I'm gonna show you guys. Some of you guys probably already seen it. It's all over X, but GROK has given us some interesting information about a list of cryptocurrencies and which one it would buy out of the group and throw away the rest. But I kind of want to do it live myself because I feel like AI sometimes, if you ask it the same question over and over and over again, is it going to give you the exact same answer every time, or is it going to give you different answers? Because if it gives you a bunch of different answers, then you can't really take what it says with all that much seriousness, to be honest. But if it gives you the same answer, at least majority of the time, then maybe there's something to it. So, and obviously AI is AI. It's not a real human, but it is trained, in theory, by real humans and algorithms. Make sure, you guys, before we get started, to hit that like button and hit that subscribe button, because at 10,000 subscribers, we are going to give away 10,000 KASPA. I don't know when that's going to come, but at some point, somebody's going to win 10,000 KASPA. And I hope it's during a period of euphoria. But either way, it's free to subscribe. And so if you hit that button, you're entered to win when the time comes. So make sure you pay your bar tabs. I just realized that I'm in the bedroom setting instead of the bar setting, but that's okay. We'll just leave it here for today. The bar setting, I might change it out to something new, because once you have the same background for too long, I start to get bored of it. But let me know what you guys think. Should I change it? Should I keep it? I don't know. Maybe it doesn't even matter really at all. First of all, though, let's check this out. By the way, I see Crypto Pumps is in the house. Isn't it your bedtime? Usually you're in bed at this time, I think, right? All the way out there in Ireland. Happy New Year's. Everybody say what's up to Crypto Pumps and thank him for making an appearance in the comment section. Also, make sure you go and subscribe to his YouTube channel if you have not already. He gives a lot of good KASPA information. Crypto Pumps. His name, at Crypto Pumps, here on the screen. Go and subscribe to his channel. Oh yeah, he is laying in bed. Okay, let's pull up the internet, because as we have kind of guessed, where the hell is my internet button? It's got to be around here somewhere. There we go. The market is green again. Bitcoin's back up at 90,000, and we kind of saw this coming, right? A rally of some sort after weeks of being down. A counter trend rally that, in my opinion, could potentially take Bitcoin back up to 100K. I still think that would be a rally that does not move anything into new all-time highs. I think a lot of people are going to think it will, but I'm not sure that it will. I think we've got to wait longer until all of the macro settings are in place and have been in place for a little while, so that all of the cracks that we have, the liquidity and the macro cycle and everything have caused over the last 3 years get filled, right? And then they can start coming up above the surface, and we'll see all of that money flow into the markets. But nonetheless, it's good to see this. I'm not getting out of bed for, a 9 to 12%. Pepe's up 24%. My portfolio is down enough to where we're going to need to see many of these kind of days in a row before we even get close to where my portfolio was at what January 2025, I think, is when everything kind of topped for altcoins anyways. Bitcoin still rallied here and there and put in new all-time highs in October. But we had like a little tiny altcoin rally when, the new administration came into office, because it's supposed to be pro-crypto and all that kind of stuff. And altcoins rallied when the Trump coin and Melania coin, all that kind of stuff happened. My portfolio hit all-time highs, and I thought we were off to the races. And sure enough, that fizzled out fast. And now we're down a lot. I'm sure a lot of you guys are in the same boat. So, we'll take green days when they come, though, I guess, right? What else can we do? So, Emerson is eating breakfast. What country are you in? Here it's dinner time. Which is exactly what I'm going to do after this live stream. Dad Journey back again. Happy New Year's, Caspians. And you in the back, Infamous. Yes. We'll see. I'm sure Infamous will show up today at some point. He was nice last time. He wished everyone a happy New Year and a happy holidays, and he didn't talk too much crap about KASPA last time. Oh, Emerson's in the Philippines. Do you know Infamous? Have you been around my chat to know who Infamous is? He's also in the Philippines. Or maybe you are Infamous. You change your name. So let's take a look at this. Somebody asked GROK, remove the 3 cryptocurrencies that you would not buy. Keyword not buy. From this picture. We've got KASPA. We've got Ethereum, Solana, and XRP. And GROK responded with KASPA's photo, which based on the question means GROK would only buy KASPA and not buy the other 3. Okay? Which is kind of cool. We are going to test this. I'm going to use this exact photo, and I'm going to copy and paste this exact question into GROK, and we'll see if we get the same answer. But this seems to be a trend now, because I saw this as well. Hey, GROK, remove the exchanges. Sorry, hey, GROK, remove the exchange that will list KASPA first from this image. Coinbase, Binance, Crypto.com, OKX. And guess what GROK responded with? left Binance, Crypto.com, and OKX in the photo, which means Coinbase is going to be the first exchange to list KASPA, according to GROK in this question and image here. So I thought, I don't know how much you can actually put any weight into this. Take it with a grain of salt. But right now, I want to actually pull up. Hold on, I can't move that. So let me open this screen up a little bit more. Pull that out, and we'll move this over so you guys can see it. Blow it up a little bit. But I'm going to ask them the exact same question, okay? Let's go back over to here. And let's see what happens. So I posted the question. Now let's get the photo in there. And let's ask him. See what he says. I don't know why it's flipping out. It's having a seizure. Hey GROK, remove the 3 cryptocurrencies that you would not buy from this picture. Well, that's weird. See, it gave me XRP and KASPA. So I'm not really sure what that means, see? And I wonder if I delete this, if it'll allow me to delete it. Why isn't it deleting? Oh, let's just ask him again. Okay? See if we get the same exact answer. Because I'm always curious if you just ask the same thing over and over again, if they always give you the same answer or if they don't. See, now it just gave XRP and KASPA again. So I don't know what that means. It says remove the 3 cryptocurrencies that you would not buy from this picture. But, I mean, it's removing Solana and Ethereum on both. And it's telling you XRP and KASPA are the 2 to buy. XRP is not for me. But I mean, I guess at bare minimum, KASPA shows up in both of them. So maybe there is something to it. I don't know. And I wonder, too, if the guy who posted this somehow removed the XRP. If XRP was also given to him as well on the answer, and he just removed the XRP. I don't know, but I mean, KASPA did show up in both, so there is that. But I just wanted to look at that and kind of go over and see. Yeah, maybe it does. Yeah, John, maybe it does think I'm a traitor. I don't know. But maybe if you, I wonder if you asked and added long term in there with it. So what if let me try this one more time. For a long-term hold. Remove the 3 cryptocurrencies that you would not buy for a long-term hold from this photo. And we'll put the photo back in there. Maybe that changes something. It'd be funny if it took KASPA completely out now. Oh. I don't even know what that's doing now. It's completely messing up. See, that's why AI, in my opinion, is not 100%. What's funny is you can ask the same question over and over and over again, and once you get the answer that you want, you post it on X, and there's where all the excitement comes from. But I thought it was interesting to try and see if it would give you the same answer every time. Clearly, it does not. So in my opinion, you throw any of that out the window. But, it is what it is. I, for one, am still going to be buying KASPA, and I, for one, am going to be holding it long term. I think a lot of you guys are too. So, I think moving forward, I did see today too that the easing and liquidity being put back into the market, there's a graph and it started moving upwards. So I think I'm going to reiterate this because for some people it's hard, and it's very understandable why it's hard. The best way to invest and the most successful way to invest is to put your money into solid assets and just wait. Because there's something to be said for time in the market instead of timing the market, right? You can try and do that. There's people out there that are able to do that, and there's a lot of people out there that get lucky doing that. And those are the people that you hear about on the news, right? Somebody put $10 into Dogecoin 2 cycles ago and came out with $6 million, right? The chances of any of us actually being successful doing that are extremely slim, right? And if you want to go put $10 into a bunch of meme coins, I mean, maybe you get lucky, but the chances of it are very slim. The people who continuously make the most money in crypto are the ones that buy good assets and they just hold them. Like the early buyers into Bitcoin, right? When Bitcoin was in its early days, did anybody think that they were smart for doing what they were doing? No, absolutely not. They were considered idiots and weirdos because nobody understood what cryptocurrency even was back then. But for those of them who maybe took some profits but held a portion of their Bitcoin up until now are doing very well for themselves, right? Anybody who bought Ethereum when it first came out, maybe took some profits but held on to it, held a bag, have done very well for themselves. Anybody who was able to see Solana when it first came out, right? At a fraction of a cent, held on to it because they saw what it was. And remember, KASPA wasn't invented back then. I'm going to get to that. Held it, maybe took some profits at the top of the cycle, but still made a hell of a lot of money, right? And they had to hold it for multiple years before they could realize those profits. Bitcoin, right? And Solana's only in its, second cycle now? Maybe third cycle. No. If this cycle's over and Bitcoin, like the Bitcoin topped in October, then technically it would be going into its third cycle. But you could argue we're still in its second cycle. I don't know exactly how that's all going to play out, nor do I care. Because what I'm doing is I'm buying good assets that I have conviction in, and I'm going to hold them and I'm going to wait. Because at some point, we are going to get that euphoria phase. We are going to get a blow off top. And we are going to be able to realize some profits, hopefully some very good profits, from these coins that we're holding. And I think people right now, right, that are saying KASPA is a dead coin, it's all hype, it doesn't go anywhere, it's a stable coin, you hear all of it, right? I hear it all in my comment section in every single video that I make. for those of us who see past price movement in the short term and understand what it really is, and we decide to hold it, right? We can realize some profits, take some profits if we want to, at certain points, but if we have a bag and we hold it, and it does turn into what we think it's going to turn into, 2 or 3 cycles from now, we are all going to be very well off. Just like Bitcoin holders in the early days, just like Ethereum holders in the early days, just like Solana holders in the early days. Okay? You could argue Cardano holders, right? Coin bores the hell out of me, but it's technically, made it multiple cycles. It's been around, right? I don't know if it's going to die or not, but those are the type of projects that if you were just in early enough, even when people told you you're an idiot, and you just block out the noise, and you held on, every single one of them is done amazingly well, right? So, that is my message for the day, is to buy good assets, hold on to them for as long as it takes to realize major profits in a euphoria phase, which at some point in time will come. And it looks like all of the macro conditions are setting up, right? I thought things would speed up and we would get a regular blow off top in 2025. That did not happen. So we have to pivot into 2026. Let's see what happens in 2026. If it doesn't happen in 2026, if 25 was like 2019 and there's the same sort of time, lapse in between rally and blow off top, we may have to wait until 2027. But all I'm trying to say here is we don't actually know quite yet. But if we're just patient, we continue to DCA, eventually we are going to get a blow off top. We are going to get a euphoria phase, and we are going to get to realize profits much higher than what we've been buying KASPA at for some of us years now, right? It's even the people who bought at 18 to 20 cents are going to realize profits much higher than what they bought it at. But to those people who made their first buys at 18 to 20 cents, DCAing at 4 and 5 cents, or even lower if we do go lower in the first half of 2026, bring your averages down so that you can realize your profits much faster when we do start moving up. So that your average isn't 18 cents. If you make enough buys at 4 or 5 cents, your average is going to move far below 18 cents. And then you're realizing profits much quicker, right? As long as you believe in KASPA, that is. But I would imagine if you're still buying right now, then you do believe in it. So, that's all I'm saying. I know everybody was a little bit disappointed. Most of us thought we were going to get this blow-off top in 2025 like we've gotten in every post-halving year. Bitcoin technically made new all-time highs, right, in October, Q4 2025. So there is a chance that was a cycle top, and macro conditions just were not set up for altcoins. They're too far down the risk scale. And so we need to wait until macro conditions are in favor of risk assets, liquidity pours back into the market, and then risk assets will blow up again at some point because everybody's going to want to take risks again when they feel good, when they feel like they're making money, and that they feel like that they're comfortable with their finances again and things are going good, the economy's good, the whole 9 yards, right? It's all mental when it comes to investors, when it comes to retail investors. They'll come in when they feel comfortable. We come in, I believe we're the smarter of the retail. We come in when sentiment's low because we know that's where the money's made. Normal retail will come back in when the sentiment is high. because that's when they feel comfortable, and that's when they feel like they can spend a little bit of money on assets. And they're going to be, unfortunately, right, there's a give and take in markets. Somebody's got to buy our bags when we sell them around the all-time highs of a blow-off top in a euphoria phase. That's just the way it goes, right? And then some of those people will hang around for next cycle. Some of them won't. They'll think they got duped. But we know that buying in times like this is typically when the money is made. And so I urge everybody. I've had people in my comment section as well say that they've just given up. And that's fine. Like, I'm not going to pressure anybody into putting their money into something that they potentially don't believe in, right? Crypto in general, not just KASPA. But I would urge anybody who thinks like that to second guess themselves, right? If you've got some expendable money, if you have some, extra cash laying around that you don't need for your everyday expenses and stuff, it's, in my opinion, a pretty good idea to put into the market at this point in time. Not financial advice. Let's reiterate that. I think pretty soon here I'm going to put some sort of logo on the screen that says not financial advice, because I think I've heard of a couple channels getting taken down for not specifying that. And I really don't want my channel to go down. I feel like I've worked hard enough to get it up to 6,000 subscribers. I don't want to have to start all over again. But just so you guys know, this is not financial advice. You know what I think we need, actually? I was thinking about this the other day. You know what I think we need to ignite a bull market? And this is kind of satire, but it's also kind of true. Let me know what you guys think. I think we need BitBoy back. Because as ridiculous as that guy is, as scammy as that guy is, he seems to lead bull runs and euphoria phases, right? He's always hyped up for it, and it seems like it happens when he's around. I don't want the low... Anybody who's watched him lately, I've watched a couple of his live streams because I wanted to see like what his new live streams are about. I don't even think he's even done one in a while now. Again, maybe he got arrested again, for all I know. But he had very, very, very low energy. He was yawning the whole entire time. He was talking like this. And it was just like, how does anybody even watch that? I couldn't even imagine. But I think not like super crazy BitBoy, but I think we need like BitBoy circa 2020, where he was at like the top of his game and things were like going good, and he just had a ton of energy. You can argue what the energy was coming from. I'm not going to get into that here, nor do I care. But at bare minimum, he was entertaining, and I think we need that back. I hate to say it, but I think we need that back. What do you guys think? Yeah, he's too sedated on meds. Maybe it is meds that he's on, or he's just off of all the other stuff that he was on before. Either way, what a crazy downturn for that guy. I mean, think about that. He was making millions and millions of dollars. And you could argue, whether it was for the good of others or not, right? But, I mean, he just collapsed. I can't even imagine going from here to here like he did in such a short amount of time. Crazy to think about. Hello, KASPA Bull says hello, KDK and Crypto Pumps. I don't know if Crypto Pumps is still here. He might be sleeping by now. Once QE really kicks in, money will flow. Safer investments will be a no-go for returns and AI stocks already priced in like 5 years into the future. Gold is overbought. Only one place to go. Yeah, if you look at every other asset class right now, and this is another thing that I plan to get into today. Thank you, John, for bringing it up. Every single other asset class is like either, kind of going parabolic and is at all-time highs or is like near all-time highs. Metals, the stock market, you name it, right? AI, everything's at all-time highs. So it seems that all of that stuff right now would not be the best buy, right? I would argue that the only asset class that has not really taken off yet is the crypto space. And even Bitcoin's in a good pullback, right? So if you wanted to just buy Bitcoin, that's better than buying, in my opinion, any of that other stuff at this point. Because you're going to buy gold at an all-time high. At some point, it's going to fall off a cliff again. And you're going to have bought the top. And you're going to have to wait, 65 years for it to get up there again. Because gold does not move fast very often. It stays somewhat steady, but it does not have these like blow off tops like it's having right now very often anymore. And so I would imagine if you buy gold where it's sitting right now, you're going to be sitting at a loss for quite a while. Same with silver, same with palladium or whatever that other metal's called. I don't even know what it is. Palladium, something like that. And then you've got the stock market sitting roughly at all-time highs in every facet. AI has already ran, just like John said here. Right? AI kind of took the steam out of crypto, in my opinion, this time around. But if, like you said, it's priced in for the next 5 years, then you don't want to be owning, very much AI. Maybe Tesla's good because it's got multi-facets to it if you're buying AI in the stock market. I think Tesla is actually a pretty good buy if you want to be, pretty safe about your investment. Because they have, SpaceX, they have the cars, obviously, and pretty soon they're going to be, I think, taking over, what's that damn food service? Driving food service. Shit, I can't even think of the years. Or I can't even think of the name of it. Like DoorDash and Uber Eats. Because they're going to be taking the middleman, the driver, out of it. The car's going to drive itself. And that's right around the corner, I think. And so you're going to be able to get your food for a cheaper price without the driver tip. And, I don't know how many fees are in there, for the driver. But you're going to potentially be able to get your food delivered for cheaper. And then, Elon Musk, whether you like the guy or not, is very smart. He knows what he's doing. So there's just multifacets, and then the AI, alongside of the cars and the SpaceX, and then you've got Nvidia, which is also probably a good stock. I think that's at all-time highs right now. I don't know if I'd buy it right now, but Nvidia is probably going to be around for a while at least, while AI is the thing. But yeah, crypto's the only asset class that didn't really move this cycle. And so if I were a betting man, which technically I am, I guess, because I bet in crypto, that's where I want my money to be right now. You could spread out a little bit over other asset classes just in case, but like my money would say to buy the asset class that has not ran yet, while everything else has. Right? The last thing I want to do is buy all-time highs of something and then watch it go down while crypto decides to have its turn. Sounds like a horrible idea. You know, you can buy the S&P 500 and also wait 65 years for good gains. So, I mean, it's a safe bet, yeah. But even in the S&P 500, like, you've got, I think, like 60 or 70% of those companies that are just garbage, right? The few at the top are the one that carry that whole entire index, which is like Google, Tesla, Amazon, and maybe another one, Microsoft maybe. Everything else is garbage in there. You're probably better off just honestly investing in those specific stocks rather than the 500. But, you know, to each their own. It's just I see a much bigger delta of potential gains in the crypto market right now, rather than everything else that's basically looks like it's already topped. And maybe that's their first top, and if the cycle's extended and we are in an extended cycle, we get another top with it all. But I can't imagine it's going to be massive. Stock market doesn't move like crazy. Gold usually doesn't move like crazy. Metals don't. Right? And I don't want to be buying gold at the top and waiting 65 years for my money to even itself back out again, because I know gold's going to come back down. And if it doesn't, it's going to just even out for a long time. It's not going to go parabolic again for a very long time, I don't think. That's just my opinion, by the way. Marcus. Good question. What is your KASPA price prediction for 26-27 after macro sets up? I made some predictions for this cycle that clearly did not come true, unless we are indeed in an extended cycle, and then maybe we just have to wait another year. But my original prediction was $1 to $3 for KASPA. I think, the further we go out, the further heights that the market cap could potentially get to, because you've just got more time for more potential buyers to come in. You've got more time for more, good macro settings to happen. You've got more time for institutions to get involved, for regulatory clarity to, come onto our side. All those bills that are in Congress, I don't remember what the bill's called. Clarity Act, I think. That hasn't actually passed yet, but I think is supposed to in the near future. All of that stuff, the longer you go out, the bigger potential for, the entire crypto space market cap. And so I'm going to stick with $1 to $3 right now, because I'm not prepared to, until I have like a better idea of what exactly is going to happen. Like we could top in late 2026 at the earliest, I think. And even that, I think, is a little bit too... that might be a little too aggressive. There's a chance we have to wait until 2029, right? And macro conditions are just going to be good through 26, or second half of 26, 27, 28, and into 29, and then we top in 2029, just like a regular 4-year cycle would have gone. But our macro conditions are going to be good all the way through, so we're probably going to stair step, right, and not have nearly as much downside during that 2 or 3 year period. Like, there's so many different scenarios that could play out. If we top, like if it takes until 2029 to top out, my price prediction would get higher, right? Because we have to wait another 4 years. And there's a lot of things that can happen in those 4 years. If we top in late 2026, then I would keep my prediction a little more, maybe on the lower end of the $1 to $3 range, right? Like, it just depends where we're at. But as of right now, my base case is like a $1 to $3 KASPA when we finally get that parabolic phase and the altcoin rally that we really want. Before that, that's not going to happen. And it's because market caps in that phase, in that euphoria phase, just get overhyped to the point of ridiculousness. Right? If you go look back at some cryptocurrencies and their market caps in parabolic phases, it's almost laughable how high the market caps get, especially with these projects that literally have zero use case, and they still run up to the billions of dollars in market cap. It's absolutely insane. Or tens of billions or 20 of billions, right? And so KASPA having actual use case, and by 2029, like if we have to wait that long, God knows what kind of advances it's made, right? We should be at 100 blocks per second easily by then. We should have multiple L2s and vProgs and probably something running on the L1 base layer. Like, who the hell knows what kind of advances KASPA is going to be made, or going to be made on KASPA by 2029. Like, it could look like a whole different ball game by then. And then you're asking yourself, maybe it can go higher, right? The market cap should go higher along with the advancements it's made. Maybe the adoption has grown drastically in a 4-year span, more than it would be by the end of 2026. Like, there's so many variables there. And it's really hard to tell unless we know exactly, what's going to happen in the meantime, and we don't. I could see multiple scenarios playing out. The main two is, we top in 26 or 27, right? Or we have to wait till 29 if the 4-year cycle is still intact. And you can argue that it is, right? Like, if Bitcoin topped in October of 2025, then, there's an argument to be made that we just followed the exact same cycle. We just didn't get an altcoin season, which sucks ass, by the way, for all of us holding altcoins. But it is what it is. Like, you can't really, you get what you get and you don't throw a fit, right? You just have to wait longer. It sucks. I've told you guys before, I was planning on, looking to buy a new house in early 2026, like right now. Potentially, starting to look at, upgrading the house because we need something a little bit bigger. And, I don't know when I'm going to be able to do that now. Maybe it's next year. Maybe it's 2 years from now. Maybe it's 2029. I have no idea. So, I'm in the same boat as all you guys. And, you can make the argument that, if for some weird reason we don't get some sort of blow off top in altcoins in early 26, I guess it's this year now, which I don't think is going to happen, by the way. You could argue that Bitcoin literally just followed its same 4-year cycle and topped Q4 of the post-halving year. Bitcoin did like an 8x from the bottom, so it did what it was supposed to do. Altcoins just did not do what they were supposed to do, because the liquidity and the macro headwinds just were not there for altcoins this potential cycle. So I could see a scenario where, the macro turns around. We know it's going to turn around in mid-2026, but, is it going to immediately, second half of 2026, flood in to the markets, or do we have to wait until 2029? And we're just slowly stair-stepping up until then. I will say this, though, because I've thought about this as well. I got to try to think about every scenario that possibly happen. We know that in in the United States, right, where I live, let's just put it this way. If the economy and the markets are good at the time for a re-election, the party in power usually stays in power. They get reelected. If the markets and the economy are not good and the people, right, feel like things around them are not good, then the party that's in power, it usually flips to the other party. And I would imagine that you guys know who Donald Trump is. He's very egotistical, and I would imagine that he wants in these midterms to, retain control of the House and the Senate. Whether that happens or not, I don't know. But it makes you wonder, is he going to prop up the markets? Is he going to prop up the economy for, the second half of 2026 in order to make sure that he gets what he wants in the midterms, right? So that's just a potential scenario that you have to think about. I don't know that crypto necessarily needs to participate in that, although it would be nice. I think governments in general care more about the stock market than they do the crypto market, but it's just something we have to ask ourselves, right? There's so many possibilities that could happen, and there's no telling what is actually going to happen. So what if we don't get a top until 2029, but in late 2026 we start to see the markets move up, right? Everybody starts to feel good. Maybe that's enough for him to get the Senate and the House back, right? And then later on down the road, we actually get euphoria phase. So there's so many levels of what could happen over the next 4 years that trying to guess is just going to give you a headache and brain damage probably. So that's why you need to simplify things, in my opinion, and just, you can take some gambles, more power to you, right? Gambles are fun, but don't use a ton of money and invest in good assets and just hold until the time is right. That's how people make money and make money consistently. Most people who bet on these meme coins end up actually losing money. A lot of people put too much money into these meme coins or projects that don't have any sort of utility at all, and most of these people end up losing money because most meme coins are just going to rug you when it's all said and done. If you hold on to them long enough, you might get lucky, but you also might get rugged. And that's the risk that you're willing to take, right? You could potentially see outsized gains. The problem is, a lot of people, when they double or triple their money in a meme coin, they're like, oh, but I want the 100x. And they're not going to sell till they get that 100x. And if that 100x never comes, their $200 that they put into a meme coin that turned into 400 or 600, and they didn't take profits, will go back down to $50 at some point, right? And that's how you lose money in the meme coins. If you double your money on a meme coin, I would highly recommend taking some profit out. At least take your initials out so that you're just riding with what they call a moon bag at that point, right? Everything's just profit at that point. And then you can reinvest your initial investment in something good, right? That's just my recommendation. And then your moon bag, right, if it does 100x, then you're still going to, make a ton of profits in that. Emerson, I only hold BTC and CAS. That's not a bad portfolio because BTC is safe, right? And it's going to lead the markets. So you're going to get your, it's going to be sandbagged, cemented gains from certain altcoins, but you're also guaranteed some gains probably from Bitcoin, right? Where you're not guaranteed anything from an altcoin. But holding KASPA, it still has a potential to, potentially 100x at some point. And so you're allowing yourself some leeway with some risk, but in my opinion, a safer risk than a lot of coins out there. So I like to dabble in a few other, just me personally, I like to dabble in a few other L1s that have some VC backing as well, because I saw what Solana did with VC backing and they don't like to lose money. So, if KASPA's sitting stagnant for a while, your VC-backed coin sometimes will outperform in there, and that way your portfolio is still moving in a positive direction. SUI is another one that I like. But I wonder, too, like, if we go into another cycle, I wonder if SUI is... see, I'm torn on this because normally you want to cut off all your altcoins, or at least the vast majority of them, moving into a brand new cycle, because a lot of those altcoins are just going to go away, and you're going to have a new crop of the new shiny red ball, right, that are going to do well in their first cycle in this next cycle. But altcoins didn't really run in this last cycle, so now I'm torn. Do I sell altcoins, or is there, like, even the ones like KASPA and SUI, for instance, who, if we're going to call it last cycle, was their first cycle, do they still have the potential to, like, really outperform if this cycle's over and we're going to call it next cycle, because they didn't really run, right? They ran a little bit, but we didn't have an altcoin blow off top. So I wonder if they're still good holds moving into next cycle, and then just to add a couple potential new shiny objects, over the next year as, potential new projects might come out, which I will be looking for, by the way. So it's hard to know because, like, it's so clear cut when you have that blow off top. I would cut all of my altcoins except for, KASPA and maybe some Solana to keep around, and then move into next cycle looking for the new altcoins that are in their first cycle that have the highest potential of giving you gains. But now I don't know because we didn't have an altcoin season, so I'm, like, torn. And as of right now, I've cut some altcoins, but I haven't cut them all because I'm just not sure. They're making it very hard on us this time around. But like I said, if you just hold for long enough, you're going to make money. So that's what I'm not worried about. As long as you're holding good assets. If you hold dog or cat meme coin number 1070 on CoinMarketCap, then you might be in some danger if you hold it long term. In fact, you probably will be in danger if you hold it long term. But if you're holding KASPA or Bitcoin or Ethereum or Solana or maybe Cardano, not for me, but like I said, it's stood the test of multiple cycles now, and it's still here, so maybe that's an okay hold. I hope SUI is an okay hold. Those projects should be okay holds for the long term. SUI's a little iffy because I'm not sure, with Solana being where it's at, if SUI is actually kind of a carbon copy to an extent. That they claim the tech is a little bit better and smoother, but, if it can't gain any sort of adoption, then, as far as a VC-backed L1, Solana probably wins. But KASPA has the intangibles that no other project can touch. Oh, and you know what I saw the other day? Speaking of it, I'm going to make a dedicated video on this, but I'm just going to go over it real quick here. And I'm not going to even try. I should have found the video ahead of time, but I forgot about it until now. There's a guy, and I can't think of his name, but I'll give him credit once I find his video when I this next week make a dedicated video on it. He understands, like, he's a tech guy. He understands vprogs like the back of his hand. Once he did the research into it and figured out exactly what it meant, right? Read I don't know if it was called a white paper or some other colored paper on vprogs. And he was an ICP investor before that. But what happened is he read what vprogs is going to do for KASPA, and he said the reason that he invested in ICP was because of this. I can't quote the exact tech that he's talking about, but there was a certain tech that ICP had that he thought was far and above everybody else, right? But with vprogs on KASPA, they literally outdo that tech that ICP seems to claim, and their claim to fame, I guess you could say, right, as being far and above every other project. KASPA is now going to have that, but it's proof of work, in a better version of that, but it's proof of work, and it has no VCs, and it was fair launched with no pre-mine, and everything else good, right? It's scalable, everything else good that we know about KASPA. And so once I dig into this a little bit, we're going to be able to go back to the ICP maxis, cough, cough, Jerry Banfield, and have legitimate backing of why KASPA is now better than, we knew it was better beforehand, but now KASPA even is able to run a better version of ICP's claim to fame best technology on its L1. And therefore, it's categorically better than ICP, right? Especially after you go over everything else about KASPA and compare the two. I think ICP, the team and the founders, hold like 90% or something of the token supply. I don't know why the hell you would want to buy that, because they're going to dump on you every single chance they get. Price moves up 2x, it's going to have trouble moving up higher, because you're going to have those guys who have millions of dollars worth of ICP selling little bits at a time as you hit these thresholds, because they're cashing out millions of dollars. That's just the way. Same with XRP, same scenario. So look out for that video, hopefully coming this week. Or, I'm sorry, it would be next week. Early next week, hopefully. Because I ran across that and I thought it was interesting. Because I don't really understand vprogs. I don't have a technical background. Like, I understand crypto as like a base, right? And I probably understand it better than a lot of regular people out there. But because I did some mining and I had to do a bunch of stuff in order to learn how to mine crypto and all that kind of stuff, and get into the weeds of exactly how it functions under the hood to a certain extent. But like when you get really deep into the technical, back end of stuff, I don't really understand it all that much. But if you've got guys who do understand it, then, and they're saying that this is like a game changer, then I tend to believe that this is probably a game changer, especially for a guy who was an ICP maxi, and he bought ICP, right, for technical reasons. Now, I don't know if he's like sold at ICP and bought, transferred it all into KASPA or not. But nonetheless, it's an interesting scenario. And I tend to believe the tech guys know what they're talking about when it comes to how amazing the tech actually is on KASPA. It's probably more amazing than we even know, right? Some of you guys out here watching me probably may have an understanding, more than I do. You're tech-based, right? Tech-minded. But a lot of us don't even understand half of it. It's probably way better than we even know. Add to hold over the next year or two. Yep. That's the way to go, in my opinion. KASPA's trash comments. You all get them to explain why it's radio silence. Yep. You know what's funny too is I seem to get like when KASPA's pumping, you get less, like those people don't show up in your comment section or your live video chat. But when it's a red day, they love to come in and tell you it's a dead project. They said the same thing about BTC. The hardest thing to do with any crypto is hold in patience. Yeah, it is because the volatility is so extreme. And we're going to have, what I can promise you guys, in these future years that we are, lucky to be a part of, we are going to have a ton. I know KASPA seems like a stable coin right now, but I can guarantee you we are going to have a ton of volatility in the next 4 years with KASPA. A ton of it. We might have volatility to the downside. We might have a ton of volatility to the upside. And I think we're going to have both. But we're going to have volatility. I can guarantee you guys that. And it's going to be fun because I like the volatility. That's what keeps me in the market. It's entertaining. Like if I had investments in the like S&P 500 and that's where I invested my money, I would literally die of boredom watching my portfolio grow, 0.2% a year. It's like staring at a concrete wall or watching grass grow. I would be so bored. So that's why I'm in this market, because it's entertaining and it interests me because of the volatility. And the ones that can stomach it are the ones that are going to make it in the end. Most people can't stomach it, which is, I don't understand it personally, but I guess like outward looking, I could see why people, wouldn't be able to stomach it because it just moves so much. I have friends that have put money into crypto and then they pull it out immediately at a loss because they think it's going to zero. And, no matter how many times you tell them to just hold on and wait, they can't do it for some reason. Or they, put in $1,000 and they make $50 in profit and they're like, yep, take it out. I'm like, you're going to pay taxes on that and you just lost money probably. So people just don't have patience, I think, is the biggest issue. Crypto Pump still thinks that Q4 2026 into Q1 2027 will still have a peak. It's possible. It's possible. That would be the earliest, in my opinion, that anything could happen. But that's why, you just got to plan for all scenarios because you just don't know. But one thing I do know about Crypto Pumps is he's not fazed by volatility, which is why I know he's going to make it in the market. Probably everybody else in this comment section as well, because you're here right now. When I bought BTC back in 2012, I thought it was the dumbest idea ever. Now buy and forget is the key. Yeah, what's funny is, I don't know when I first heard about BTC, but I heard about it somewhat early, and I could not wrap my brain around fake money, digital money, right? Because that wasn't a thing back then. It was very, very new concept, and I didn't invest in it. For one, I didn't know how, and I didn't know anybody that could teach me how. Maybe I could have gone on, started my venture into YouTube and investing journey a lot earlier, but I was younger and I didn't care, girls, cars, partying. That was what I cared about back then. If I was smarter, I would have jumped into investing earlier back then, but it wasn't, until a certain, I think it was, I don't even remember when I first got in, to be honest with you. I think it was before last cycle sometime, but yeah, even now, I still get people, and I'm sure you do too, Emerson, people that think you're an idiot for investing in crypto. That's just the way it is. At some point, it's getting more mainstream, but it's not even close yet when you really think about it. Compared to like the stock market, you tell people you invest your money in the stock market, they're like, "Oh, good for you. You're so smart." And then you tell them you invest in crypto, and they're like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa." That's going to zero. Have you ever heard of the tulips? Even though Bitcoin's been around since 2010, right? If it was a tulip scenario, it would already be gone. I think the tulips lasted like 1 4-year cycle. Maybe. I don't even remember, but it was definitely not a decade before it went under. It was way less than that. Also, tulips are a flower, right? So like flowers die. And you could look at something like that and just tell it's not going to last forever. I still get people that tell me I'm an idiot for investing in crypto. I even think my fiance thinks I'm an idiot, even though she won't say I am. To my face, anyway. She probably tells her friends that. Once it moves, it'll move fast. Yes. That is a fact. That is a fact. Because it'll bore the hell out of you to the point where you're like, this is never going to move. That's why you have people jumping out of the market, right? It will bore the hell out of you for years. And then the train will leave the station before you have time to get on. Unless you've been in the market this whole entire time. The smart ones have. And we are ready for the train to leave, right? If the train leaves tomorrow, I'm 100% okay with it. A lot of people will not be okay with it. Because they just think that things are dead and they're not going anywhere and that cryptocurrency will die. But remember, it's usually at those times where everybody's telling you altcoins are dead, crypto is dead. Those are the times when the money is made. And right now, everybody in this space, even in the space, right, is telling you crypto's dead. There's a lot of people that are telling you crypto's dead. Outside of the space, probably 100% of people are telling you that. And if history tells us anything, that's the best time to buy. That's the time where you're going to make the most X's when the train actually leaves the station. And one thing I do know is I will be on that train. My bags are packed. I'm adding more as we speak. But I'm comfortable in a seat, ready to leave when that train decides to leave the station. I will be happy. And I hope that you guys are too. Yeah, the economy doesn't need to be good. It needs to appear so. Yeah, that's a fact. Let's be honest. Everything is smoke and mirrors with the economy, with money, with, probably most governments in the world. Nothing is as it seems. And all of the numbers that they print, all they have to do is fudge the numbers to make everything appear good. And then the psyche of all of the citizens will be like, oh, I have money again, right? That's basically what we live on. And most people don't understand that, which is why most people are NPCs and sheep to, the way of life that they want us to live. Us, actual people who know what's going on and can see through the smoke and mirrors, are the ones that are going to do well. Those channels were claiming 100x certain to get views. Yeah. Okay. Well, it's a good thing I mentioned KASPA could 100x then in this video. I said long term though. I didn't say in the next couple months. I said long term. Another cycle or two. BitBoy's too sedated. Crypto Pumps, you are sleeping, aren't you? You know why? Because my stream is 15 minutes over the 1 hour mark. Also, Vortex, I wasn't lying. 65 years is like a legitimate timeline for gold. I'm assuming you're talking about that. Like you buy gold right now at all-time highs, it literally might take you 65 years. If gold takes a dump and eventually it'll go back to its all-time highs, or it may just sit around its all-time highs. But either way, you're not making any money. You're just sitting flat, which is better than holding fiat money. I'll give you that. Better than holding fiat money. But I would rather be in something like Bitcoin and crypto than gold, where I can realize, a 10x gain in 4 years rather than waiting 65 to stay even or even lose money in gold. So that's where I'm coming from. Green apple splatters dash. What does that even mean? Oh, are you talking about DoorDash? I've never even heard of... Is Green Apple delivery service? I've never even heard of that. God, I can't even pronounce this name. Palladium. Palladium. Pumps, your wedding ring was made from that. Thought it was cool because it was metal iron. Arc reactor chest due to while. Wait, what? Man had in his arc reactor in his chest. Is you talking about a heart? Then I lost the ring. I probably just butchered reading that. But that whole second line is not making sense to me. But the fact that you lost the ring is a sad story. Is it literally not findable? Like you lost it a while ago and you gave up? Yeah, that's possible, John. I don't think NVIDIA is going to outperform Bitcoin by any means. I just said I think NVIDIA is going to stick around. It's at all-time highs right now, so I would not even touch it right now. Wait for a pullback, whatever that means in the stock market. It's like 2%, 10%. Best to leave the crackhead predictions to guys like CG. $100 KASPA next month. Yeah, I heard I think he's one of the guys that lost his channel, huh? I see him on X posting comments to YouTube's X page about how they're not allowing him to have his channel back. Maybe it has something to do with the meme coin shilling 100x, 200x, 500x, 1000x on the thumbnails every day. Tone it down, CG. All right, guys. I have to take off. I got to go cook some dinner. I'm hungry. I ate a piece of toast right before I came on, but my stomach is bigger than a little piece of toast, and so I need to go eat something. I appreciate everybody for hanging out. I also want to remind everybody, like a broken record again, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button before you leave the bar. Pay your bar tabs. At 10,000 subscribers, we're going to give away 10,000 KASPA. It's free. Just subscribe. I know most of you guys are, and I appreciate that. In the meantime,